Hey, so I wanted to make this video about an experience that I had and an insight that I have received regarding that experience that came up yesterday. And so basically, I just finished a yoga teacher training course for it's like a prerequisite. I had to take you have to have 50 hours of teacher or of experience with this particular style of yoga before you can apply to become a yoga teacher with these people. Oops. And so I did this online on my computer here in my room. And I tell you, it was like 7 hours a day for 7 days. And I was like, so it wasn't all asana, right? There's pranayama techniques, there was spiritual discourse, there was a variety of things, but there were back-to-back yoga classes. So like say a class for an hour, or say about 70 minutes, just over an hour, and then another one, and then sometimes another one. And I tell you, because for myself, because I was on camera, because it's like Zoom, and so I'm sitting there, I'm doing this stuff, I'm on camera, and the instructors are saying to do this stuff, and they say you got to go at your own speed or whatever, and you hear that, but kind of for myself, I felt like, okay, well, I'm doing this. This is my opportunity to get better. I want to perform. And so I essentially pushed myself and followed the instructions. And part of that, I mean, they don't ask you to do anything that is beyond your ability. I mean, there are levels of yoga, and you don't try to do something that you just can't, right? Because hurting yourself doesn't make any sense. But one of the things is that in this particular style of yoga, it is sometimes taught with holding poses for an appreciable amount of time. And this is something that I don't do in my own practice. I generally hold poses for a couple of breaths and then move forward. I move through a range of poses, but I don't hold a pose, say, for like a minute, never mind 2 minutes or 3 minutes or something to that effect. And so I tell you, by the end of this course, I was fatigued. My muscles were so tired. I was sore. I wasn't like cramping, but it felt like my muscles were tight, like I was less flexible at the end of it, because I wasn't able to recover, because I would do this, and then at about 5 o'clock I would skip the last class, and then I would go to work because I still have to pay for all of this stuff. And I would go to work and do a construction job. I install hardwood flooring and stuff like that in people's houses, well, wherever, right? And for about 5 hours every day. And then I would come home, and I would have to be careful, because when I would sit down, that would be it. And so it's like, if you're going to eat something, eat before you plant your butt right there, because once you're down, that's it. I just could not get myself back up. And I just kept, like, it carried on. Like, this was for the whole experience for myself, and it was just, it was exhausting. I had to overeat, or I don't know, I did everything that I could to maintain, including lots of juicing. It helped, but I was overeating. I was eating more than I normally like to eat to compensate, like really watching my carbs and my protein, and making sure that I was eating things that are easy to digest so that I could get more food in, because I was struggling. And I can certainly tell when I'm not intaking enough to compensate for the amount of physical activity that I'm doing. I learned that the hard way with being a fruitarian, and then going to the gym and practicing calisthenics, and yoga and not eating enough protein, not having enough protein in my diet, and I wasn't recovering. So like I've learned about that you do, if you're going to do certain practices, you need to have a diet that is responsible, that is, that goes along with it, right? I mean, it has to complement it, would be the word. And so all of this took place, and then it was over, and I survived it, and I was happy, but I was tired. I was wiped by the end of it. And so then it took me, I took a few days, a good 3 days of doing nothing just to recover, so that because my body was so tired from all of this strain, the stress that I had put on it. And then I started doing some very gentle yoga, and it was disheartening, maybe is the word, to see that my yoga had not really, I mean, it improved in some ways, but I was so sore and tired that it was like, in all, I needed about an entire week, like another 7 days, to fully recover from this experience of pushing myself too hard. And until I was slowly able to start practicing what is normal yoga for myself, that is the practice as I do it on my own, that I've developed over the years, what I'm comfortable with, what works with my body. And so then all of a sudden I got back to it. And the thing is, because I skipped that last class every day, because I needed to balance my work and yoga schedule. So then I have to make up those classes, so you can do that on Teachable. It was all recorded on Zoom, and so I would go on Teachable and then do it. But so this time I'm sitting there, I have the computer there, but it's not live, right? So I have the ability to pause it. I have the ability to pause it and take notes and to think about it. And when you're not on camera, it's different. I mean, it's just like being on camera right now. I essentially have to perform. I can't just and awe. I can't look around. I have to pay attention to what I'm doing because it's live. And I know I don't want to do this again. I'm not interested in making this video twice. So it's like, it's a different energy that's there when you're on camera, it's not that you're being watched, but you know what I mean? I mean, you are with YouTube and whatnot. So for myself, I was like, and then what happened was then I started, because it was like there was less pressure on me to perform, because I wasn't doing it as part of a group like you might do when you're in a class, for example. And so all of a sudden, not the paradigm, but like almost like my little paradigm had shifted to this thing where it was much more casual, where I was able to move at my own pace. And I realized that the way that it was being taught just does not work for me. And like the thing is sometimes you will find a teacher that essentially, I don't know if you want to use the word push, but certainly encourages you to hold a pose for a portion of time, a significant portion of time. And that could be something that you're not used to. And like for myself, I practice yoga almost every day for like hours a day. I take it very seriously. I can do a lot of complex asana, advanced asana, but if I push myself too hard, all that goes out the window, and I'm just struggling to hang on. I'm barely hanging on by the skin of my teeth, because holding poses for a long time, it just wears me out. It puts so much stress, so much strain on my muscles that they become fatigued, and because I'm doing it too much, there's no time for recovery, and they end up being just completely wiped by the end of it. And that's ridiculous, because for myself, in my own practice, when I do yoga, when I practice yoga, I will go to the gym. I like to go to the gym and practice it because there's a little area there. It's not ideal, but I like it over in my bedroom, because when I'm there, I'm focused, because I know that there are others there. And it's not that people watch me practicing yoga, but they do at the same time, because I do some fancy poses, and people have given me feedback. I know that people watch me do yoga there. And so I really make an effort to stay focused and stay in my flow. And because there's other people too, you got to respect the time limit. You know, I'm taking up a section in a room and going through my routine. And so I want to get through it in a timely fashion so that I can finish my practice and move on, so that other people can use the area as well. And so yeah, it was just a huge moment for me to realize that. So, and this is where this video is coming from. It is just this idea that just because a teacher tells you to do something, it doesn't necessarily mean you should do it. Even if they're a yoga teacher, if they're something, you know, not everybody, some people become teachers and they're not necessarily the best or at explaining things, which is what a teacher does, right? Or at you know, in their approach, how they convey information to other people. There's a lot of people that do it. Some people do it, it's just a job. Everybody has different reasons for doing it. And some people, it comes, I would say, a little bit more naturally. I mean, I would say probably there's a teacher for everybody. Maybe some people like to be pushed really hard in certain ways. I mean, I do in a sense, but not if it's going to result in injury. And for me, being laid out for an entire week is injury. I was injured as a result of this. Just my entire body was injured. It wasn't specific, right? It wasn't like I was dealing with any specific pain, because I know how to avoid that kind of stuff. But I made what is a rookie move. And so this is a funny thing, because it's like, if you go to a music festival, specifically an electronic music festival where you dance. I absolutely love to dance. And something that you can do is, if you go to a festival, a dance festival, and you go too hard on your first night, you stay up all night and you give it your everything, you boogie, 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 until the sun comes up, and then you're just dead the next day. And this is called a classic rookie move, because you have spent yourself. You have nothing left in your gas tank. And, you know, you can miss an entire day of festivities, of connecting, of exploring, of doing things with friends, of meeting people, all that kind of stuff, because you didn't pace yourself. And this is somewhat of the idea of this, is that it's important to, I don't know if it's recognize limitations, but almost like impose limitations, or have discipline, and understand that some things are long term, and to not go too hard, too fast, you know, because that's how it's like with metal or whatever. If you have something that's very cold and something that's very hot together, it will break. If you heat up something that's cold, then, you know, or vice versa, right? You too quick of a change too fast. But the point is to pace yourself. Understand that life, or many things in life, yoga included, like for myself, this is a lifelong practice. This isn't something that I need any kind of pressure on. This is something that is very gradual, that when I'm done, like I said, when I go to the gym and I leave, I might go there feeling like a little tired, but when I leave, I feel energized, because that, to me, that is what the practice is supposed to do. It's not supposed to wear you out. Yeah. And so Yeah, and then I guess the last part of this message is that it's something that an idea anyways, just to spit it out, is to just always listen to yourself. Don't ever go out, or I mean, we come to teachers to learn, right? But at the end of the day, it is you who knows you, you who knows your body and what's good for you. And like trying to perform to impress, to, or even just because, like, to perform in a way that you're not being conscious, you're not being aware of the expenditure or the stress that you're putting on your body and how that is going to affect you long term, is not wise, for example. And so yeah, that is the point, is just that it's important to always, absolutely go to a teacher and learn from that teacher and be grateful for what they have to offer, but also keep, think for yourself and know your limits and be able to say no. And if somebody says, oh, how come you coming out of that pose? Say, because I'm done, because I've reached my limit. As you can see, I can do the advanced forms of this asana and I'm good. I don't need to wear myself out. Thank you for your, for your instruction, thank you for your tips and all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to, walk my own path. I mean, I experienced this as well when I went to Peru. I went to an ayahuasca retreat just south of Iquitos that my friend runs. And the Avatar Center is what it's called. I mean, and so anyways, and I went there for a few weeks. And after I didn't make it more than halfway, because you drink ayahuasca a number of times and work with other plant medicines as well. There's ajo sacha, this jungle garlic, as well as this chiricsanango, which is it is a plant that they say is good for artists such as myself, and because it increases sensitivity, it makes you unbelievably sensitive. And so as a result of all of this, I reached a point where, I had paid a lot of money to go to this place, but at the end of the day, I had to say, no, this isn't right for me. I understand that this is how it works for lots of people, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, I know me, I know my body, I know what my intuition is telling me, and I can tell that this is not right for me right now, not this way. And I walked away. I left the jungle, and because this is my friend, she told me that I could come back anytime and continue my journey should I wish to, which is amazing. So it's great for her to honor that and whatnot. So that is awesome. But yeah, I mean, that's just, I think that's everything. Just the point is always listen to your inner guidance don't feel pressured, even the pressure that you put on yourself. I mean, I cannot blame anybody for the experience that I had, of what I went through. It was, and I mean, I'm just glad that I survived and I learned something, and I'm going to carry that through with me as I become a yoga teacher, and I'm going to share these ideas with other people so that they don't have to go through the same learning experience that I did, per se. I mean, because it is unnecessary. So yeah, I like to convey these ideas because it might save somebody some time and some unnecessary suffering, right? Because that is a drawback. I mean, there's, in yoga, we say you want to find your appropriate edge. Like you need to push yourself. There's this thing that they call, I think it's in Buddhism, angry determination, where you need to have resolve. You need to be at a place where it's like, no, I would like to progress. I know I need to go a little outside of my comfort zone in order for me to progress, to make steady progress, right? But you have to find that balance. And, it's another thing that we say in yoga is that yoga is not for those who eat too much or eat too little. Yoga is not for those who sleep too much or sleep too little. It's about moderation. It's about knowing, it's about finding a balance and knowing where you fit in that. And so always listen to yourself, regardless of anything. And even me, don't listen to me. But yeah, anyways.